My last month. I'm 69 years old. Last week, the doctor told me something bad. He said I have cancer. He said I have only 1 month to live. I was very sad. I sat alone for a long time. I looked at old pictures. I thought about my life. I did many things. Some were good, some were not. But one thing was clear. I love my family more than anything. I have 3 children. I also have 5 grandchildren. They all live in different cities. We do not see each other often. Everyone is busy. They have work, school, and other things. But now I want to see them again. I want to spend time with them. I want to laugh with them. I want to eat together. I want to remember the good days. So I picked up my phone. I called my son first. Then I called my daughters. I told them, "Please come home. I miss you." They asked, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Just come. I want to see you." They said they would come next week. I smiled. I felt happy. I waited for the day they would arrive. I cleaned the house. I washed the windows. I made space for everyone. I went to the market. I bought fruit, bread, and tea. I sat in the living room and looked outside. The sun was bright. The sky was blue. I closed my eyes and thought of the old days. Days when the house was full. Days full of noise, games, and warm food. The next day I found an old box. It was full of photos. Some were black and white. Some were in color. I saw pictures of my children when they were small. I saw my wife holding our baby. I saw birthdays, trips, and family dinners. I smiled and touched the pictures. So many memories in one box. Then I had an idea. I will tell my family stories. I will tell them about my life. I will tell them funny things. I will tell them sad things. I will tell them how I met their mother. I will tell them about my first job. I want them to know me better. I want them to remember these stories. I sat at my desk and took a notebook. I started writing. My hands were slow, but my heart was full. I wrote about my childhood. I wrote about the war. I wrote about my friends. I wrote about the time we had no money, but still smiled. I wrote until it was dark. That night I looked at the stars. The sky was clear. The wind was soft. I felt calm. I was not afraid. I knew something. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something special. I will not think about dying. I will think about living. I will make this last month beautiful. The day came. My family arrived. One by one, they came through the door. My son was first. He gave me a big hug. Then my daughters came with their children. The house was full again. I smiled the whole day. My grandchildren ran around the room. They laughed and played. It felt like old times. My heart was full of joy. We sat at the table. I made tea. My daughters helped in the kitchen. My son told jokes. We talked for hours. We ate bread, fruit, and warm soup. My grandchildren sat beside me. They asked many questions. I told them stories about their parents. They listened with wide eyes and big smiles. It was a perfect evening. The next morning, we went to the garden. The sun was bright and the air was cool. My grandson helped me water the plants. My granddaughter picked flowers. I sat on a chair and watched them. I told them about the old tree in the corner. I said, "This tree is older than you. I planted it when your father was a boy." They laughed and said, "It is very tall." Later that day, we looked at old pictures. I showed them photos from many years ago. "This was your mother at 5, I said. She liked pink dresses." My granddaughter smiled and said, "Like me." We laughed. Then I showed them a picture of my wife. I said, "She made the best food." Everyone nodded. We all missed her, but we felt her love in every corner of the house. At night, we sat together again. The children were sleepy, but they wanted one more story. I told them about a trip to the sea. "Your parents were young," I said. "They played in the water all day." I told them how we got lost and found a little cafe. We had cake and laughed all night. My son smiled. "I remember that cake," he said. I looked around the room. Everyone was here. Everyone was safe. The light was soft. The room was warm. I thought to myself, this is happiness. I did not need anything else. I had my family, my memories, and this time together. I wanted to stop time. I wanted this moment to stay forever. Before going to bed, I stood at the window. The sky was dark. The stars were bright. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I felt peace. I was not thinking about my illness. I was thinking about my blessings. I knew I had little time, but I also knew that this was the best part of my life. The next day, we went for a walk. The sun was warm and the birds were singing. My son pushed my wheelchair. The children ran ahead. We walked slowly through the park. I showed them the bench where I first met their grandmother. "We sat here and talked for hours," I said. They listened with smiles. That place held many memories for me. We saw a man playing music. He had a guitar and a big hat. The children danced and clapped their hands. I gave the man a coin. He smiled and said, "Thank you, sir." I said, "Your music is beautiful." Music always touched my heart. It reminded me of happy days. I liked how it made everyone smile. Even strangers felt like friends. At lunch, we stopped at a small cafe. The waiter was kind and friendly. He gave the children extra bread. I ordered soup and tea. We sat outside and enjoyed the fresh air. I told a story about a time I got lost in the city. Everyone laughed when I said I asked a dog for directions. My granddaughter said, "Grandpa, you're funny." In the afternoon, we visited my old school. It looked smaller than I remembered. The walls were still the same color. I showed my grandchildren the classroom where I learned to read. "This is where I wrote my first story," I said. They asked, "What was it about?" I smiled and said, "A dog who wanted to fly." They laughed and said, "Tell us more." We walked past the library. I stopped and looked at the door. "I spent many days here," I said. "Books were my friends." My daughter asked, "Do you still read?" I said yes, every night. Reading gave me peace. It helped me sleep. I wanted my grandchildren to love books too. So I gave each of them a small storybook that evening. Back at home, we made a fire in the fireplace. The room felt cozy and warm. We sat on the floor with pillows and blankets. I told them about winter days long ago. "We used to sit just like this," I said, and drink hot chocolate. My son made some, and we all drank together. The children said, "This is the best night ever." That night, I watched the children sleep. They looked peaceful. I thought about how fast time goes. Just yesterday, their parents were this small. Now they have children of their own. Life moves like the wind. It doesn't stop. I felt both happy and sad, but more than anything, I felt proud. Before sleeping, I wrote in my notebook. I wrote about the day, about the smiles and the songs. I wanted to remember everything. I did not want to forget one moment. I wrote, "Today was perfect. I am thankful." Then I closed the book and turned off the light. I closed my eyes with a smile. The next morning, we made pancakes. The children helped in the kitchen. My daughter mixed the eggs, and my son flipped the pancakes. We laughed when one pancake fell on the floor. "Oops," said my grandson. We all smiled and made more. The table was full of food and happy faces. It was a sweet and simple start to the day. After breakfast, we looked through old photo albums. The children pointed and asked, "Who is that?" I told them stories about each picture. "This was me at your age," I said. They laughed and said, "You had funny hair." We found a picture of me fishing. "I caught the biggest fish that day," I said with a proud smile. Later, we went to the backyard. The sun was shining, and the sky was blue. We played simple games. We threw a ball, blew bubbles, and chased each other. Even I joined from my chair. The children ran and laughed. It felt like time stopped, just joy and sunshine. That moment was pure and full of life. In the afternoon, we planted flowers. I showed the children how to dig small holes. We placed each flower gently in the ground. "These flowers will grow strong," I said, "like all of you." The children smiled and nodded. We watered them together. The garden looked beautiful. It was a gift we made with our hands. Before dinner, we painted rocks. I had a box of paints and brushes. Each person picked a rock and made their own design. My granddaughter painted a heart. My grandson painted a sun. I painted a tree. We signed our names on the back. "Now we will always remember this day," my daughter said. I nodded with a warm heart. That evening, we sat around the table again. This time we shared stories. My son told a funny story about school. My daughter talked about a trip to the sea. Then, I told them a story from my army days. I said, I was scared, but I stayed brave. They listened closely. We laughed, remembered, and felt closer. After dinner, we went outside to look at the stars. The night sky was clear. We saw many bright stars. "That one is the North Star," I said. The children made wishes. I made one too. I didn't say it out loud. I just looked up and smiled. The stars made me feel small, but also full of hope. When we came back in, I watched the family. They talked, helped clean, and shared hugs. I sat quietly and looked around the room. My heart felt full. I didn't need anything else. This was all I wanted, just time with the people I love. I closed my eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. Life was beautiful tonight. The next day, we had a picnic in the park. We packed sandwiches, fruit, and cookies. The children brought a ball and a kite. The sun was warm. and the wind was soft. We sat on a big blanket under a tree. We ate, laughed, and watched the kite fly high. It was a peaceful and happy time for all of us. After lunch, we went for a walk. I held my grandson's hand. He asked many questions about the world. Why is the sky blue? Where do birds sleep? I smiled and answered simply. I loved his big thoughts and small voice. My legs were slow, but my heart was full. That walk was special to me. In the evening, we baked cookies together. My daughter mixed the dough and the children shaped the cookies. We made stars, hearts, and even one that looked like a cat. The sweet smell filled the house. We waited by the oven, watching them rise. When they were done, we ate them warm. They tasted like love and joy. That night, we watched an old movie. It was black and white, and the music was soft. I told the children, this was my favorite when I was young. They listened and watched with wide eyes. We sat close on the couch, sharing popcorn and smiles. Even though the movie was slow, it felt just right. We were together, and that mattered most. The next morning, I woke up early. I made tea and sat by the window. I looked at the garden and watched the birds. The house was quiet, still asleep. I thought about my life, the good days, the hard days, the funny ones too. I smiled and whispered, "Thank you." It was not a sad morning. It was peaceful and calm. Later, we made a memory box. Each person put something inside. My granddaughter put a drawing. My grandson gave a toy car. My daughter added a photo. I put in a small note. This week was full of love, I wrote. We closed the box and tied it with a ribbon. We will open it again one day, my son said. In the afternoon, we played music. My son brought his guitar. My daughter sang a soft song. The children clapped and danced. I tapped my foot and sang a little too. The house felt alive. The music was not perfect, but it was real. Every sound was a memory. Every note was a gift. That night, we made wishes with paper and pen. I asked everyone to write one wish. We didn't share them, just folded them and put them in a jar. I looked at the jar and thought, this is our future. I didn't wish for more time. I wished for more days like this, full of smiles, stories, and warm hearts. The next morning, the house was quiet and full of soft light. Birds were singing outside the window and the air felt fresh. I sat at the table with my son while he drank his coffee. We didn't say many words, but we smiled at each other. Just being there with him gave me peace. I thought, sometimes silence speaks louder than talking. It was a calm and gentle start to the day. After breakfast, we cleaned the house together with happy faces. The children picked up their toys from the floor. My daughter folded the clean clothes with care. I helped wipe the table with my little granddaughter. She looked up and said, "This is fun, Grandpa." Cleaning felt special that day. It was not work. It was time shared with love. Later, I brought out our old family photo albums from the shelf. The children gathered around, curious and excited. I turned each page, slowly, and told stories from the past. I showed them weddings, birthdays, and trips we took long ago. They asked questions and listened with big eyes. Their laughter made me smile. My memories felt alive again. In the afternoon, we all sat in the garden under the sun. The sky was blue and the flowers were bright and colorful. My grandson brought me a cold drink with ice and mint. My granddaughter danced in the grass and spun around like a little bird. I watched them and felt deep joy. I didn't need anything more than that moment. We made lemonade together from lemons we picked off the tree. Everyone helped with smiles on their faces. We squeezed the lemons, added sugar, then water, and stirred it well. The lemonade was cold and sweet, perfect for the warm day. We sat under the trees and drank together. We told funny stories and laughed with full hearts. Before dinner, I told one more story from my younger days. It was about how I learned to ride a bike. I fell many times, but I never gave up. The children liked that story and clapped their hands. "You were strong and brave," one of them said. I smiled and told them, "Never stop trying." They nodded and held my hand. After dinner, we sat by the fire and sang old songs together. My son played the guitar and my daughter hummed the melody. The children danced and clapped in their pajamas. The fire made a warm glow on their faces. I looked at them and felt proud. We didn't have everything, but we had love, and that was enough. That night, I sat at my desk and wrote letters for everyone. I wanted to leave words they could keep forever. I wrote slowly and with care, saying something special to each one, something from my heart just for them. I hoped they would read the letters one day when they missed me. I wanted them to feel my love, even when I was gone. The next day, we made a special list together as a family. A list of happy things to do in my last days. Make cookies, walk in the park, watch stars at night, and tell stories. Everyone gave one idea with a big smile. We put the list on the kitchen wall. It was not a sad list. It was a list full of joy, laughter, and love. I hope this session was helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting stories. Take care, everyone.